I was just thinking about something I wanted to share. And a lot of times when we grow up and we start wanting to do something of importance, uh, we go from that phase of our younger life to our older self. And when we're kids, we get attention for every little thing we do. And we get older and we do try to do important things, and we don't seem to get as much attention for it. And we try to keep upping our game. And a lot of times when we don't get that attention, we get discouraged. And we look at other people, sometimes we think, well, what they did was not as good as what I did, and look at all the attention they got. But a lot of times we will say, well, people they're not respecting us because they're jealous of us, but I think that's an overused excuse for it. And it definitely is the case sometimes. There's always going to be people who are jealous of you when you do anything of importance. And on the other hand, we may think, oh, it really wasn't that good. What we did was not that good. It wasn't that important. And all that effort we put into it just seems like nobody cares. And to an extent, that's true. One thing you have to keep in mind is that everybody has their life to live. And people who are successful in the world are very busy every minute of every day. But we think, in some cases, we think back to the jealousy thing. We think people are jealous of us. And I think, although that's true sometimes, it usually is just the fact that we don't realize a lot of times just how many people there are in the world who are very competent people. Sometimes we do, but when we do something and we have a small moment of success, especially if we go from a point, say you're trying to play an instrument or you're trying to learn a new skill, or say you're trying to make money, when you get that first little taste of success, you think, oh, I've really done something. But you have to keep in mind that everybody in the world is trying to get that piece of success, and there's probably a lot of people in the world who are a lot better at what you're trying to do than you are. And if you're starting out, that's definitely the case. But especially with social media nowadays and the internet, you're going to be overshadowed for a long time. And you're not going to see that success for a long time. But see, here's the fallacy or the truth of the matter. Many people, when they start something, or I would say a very high percentage of people, maybe definitely most people, I would say, when they start something new, like an instrument or a new business or whatever it is they're trying to do, they will get to this phase to where they don't see the fruits of their labor quick enough, and they will quit. And so say you're in that place to where you're starting to taste that success, but you don't seem to be getting it as fast as you wanted to. But back to what I was saying about the fallacy is that, maybe fallacy is the correct word. I need to brush up on that. But what I'm trying to say here is you're going to be trying to make that breakthrough for a long time, and you're going to reach a plateau. Some people say you're not getting any better when you reach that plateau. I would argue that you are getting better, but you've got into the game and you're still overshadowed by those people that are way up in whatever skill it is you're trying to do. So the plateau you may think you're on really is just you're climbing up the mountain, and you're not going to start seeing exceptionalism until you get very close to the top of the mountain, to where I would say maybe the top 10% of people, or maybe 20%. But the level that you can be good at a skill is unfathomable. There's no limit to how good you can get at something. That we're only limited by the time in our life that we have to work on it. But the margin of people who are at the top, you're going to start to enter that at some point if you keep pressing. And it's at that point to where you'll start seeing what you wanted to see early on, but you won't see it for a long time. And in that window, it's going to be hard to keep going. And hard is an understatement. It's going to be, you're going to be very discouraged at times. It's going to be hard. But I want to encourage you to hang in there and stay with it. Even if you're holding on loosely, as the old song says, don't let go of it. Because your time is coming, but it's not going to happen by itself. It'll only happen if you give it a 100% every day and you don't give up. So don't give up and stay in there. And eventually you will see the evidence, and other people will start to see it, and they'll start to respect you, and you will enter that phase of the upper part of the mountain that you want to be. And you're never going to get to be where you want to be, but you will enter a phase to where you're in that zone that you're trying to get to. But you will really, truthfully, you'll only stay in that zone if you keep on giving it 100 once you get to that zone. So there is no easy road. It's a lot of little things which start compounding together over a long period of time. And people say a long period of time. I would say a lot of hard work, because it really is about the work that you put into it. You'll put in what you get out. For instance, sometimes I'll set an instrument down for a long time and I'll pick it back up. And I'll think, in that time that I set it down, I'll think, well, I'm better now because a long period of time has elapsed. When I pick it back up and I start playing, I'll realize, oh, I'm right where I was when I set it down. So it's about hard work. It's a lot less about talent. Even talent, I would argue, is hard work that's done when you're a kid. When you're very young and you put that talent in, or you put that hard work in, you become good at a very early age, and a lot of people think that's talent. I would argue that it's just a lot of hard work at that young age when you have a lot of fluid intelligence, like learning a new language or people who learn an instrument early on. So you got to keep going and not give up. And another thing, all the people who've taken violin from me, taken whatever, and me, all my teachers, what I've always been taught, and that I have learned through experience as well, is that it's a much higher payoff to practice every day, even if it's for 15 minutes, even if it's for 5 minutes, even if you just pick it up, than it is to practice for one day out of a week or out of a month or out of a year for 4 hours, or to practice 5 days out of a year for 4 hours of a day. It's better to practice a little bit on everything every day. And basically you've got to stay in the game and hold on. But I hope that encourages you. I would like to know what y'all's thoughts are on that, because the truth of the matter is that we're all just trying to find answers, and I certainly am. There's going to be some people who see this that are light years ahead of me at probably anything that I've ever tried to do. So I would really like to know what y'all think. Please post a comment, because there's going to be a lot of young men, young women who read this, and what you say is going to have an effect on them. So I would really like to know what y'all think about this, because we need people to encourage others in this world, because what's going to happen if we do is it's going to have an effect on, you may affect 1 or 2 people, but that's going to have an effect on the whole world, because those people are going to affect other people. So it's very important to encourage people if they're trying to do something, especially if you're a little ways down the road farther from them and you have experience with that certain thing, because they're going to listen to what you have to say and take it to heart. So let me know what y'all think, please, in the comments.